Please let me know when you can see my screen.
I see your screen.
Okay. So let's continue now. Okay, so this is where we stop. So we'll now try to so this is what we'll have. We'll now try to these images at the background. We want to style them in such a way that they will be smaller and give more sense to our project. So I'm gonna get to the index.html and make sure that they have these are the when we go down we'll see the list. This is the list that has the images. So we'll try to give it a class and be able to style it so that we can be able to effectively style it and use it to work. Okay, so this is the UL that has the images. So I'm gonna simply get to this very UL and assign it a class of images. So we can see it here. So I'm gonna assign it a class of images. Okay. So once I do that, I can get back to the styles and style it because I want it to be smaller. Because once it's smaller, it can give better meaning to. You can see it's very big. It can give better meaning to the website. So that's practically why I want to style it. Okay. So we can see that I've styled the nav bar here and I also styled the nav UL and nav LI and nav A as well. I also styled the hover as well as the join. Okay, if I went to the articles, now I want to be able to style the images before this footer. So I'm simply gonna come here, okay? I think the images are ahead of this one. So I'll come here and I'm gonna say, because it's a class, I'm gonna say dot images and I'll give it a style. So the style first of all, I'm gonna do test align to center because I want the image to be centralized. So test align, I want it to be center. That's the first thing. Then the second thing I want to do to this image is that I want the margin, top and bottom. I want the margin top and bottom, which is the first value, to be 80 pixels and left and right to be 0 pixels. And finally, I want the font, I want the white space to be no wrap so that it can be able to stay on the same. I want the two images to stay on the same line. So I'm going to say white space to be no wrap. Okay. If I save now, I'll not see much difference because the image size, I've not worked on the image size, so no much difference on the images. So I'm gonna come back, then I'm gonna pick out these images and make the size to be smaller. And in order for me to be able to do this, I want the size of the image to be size of the li, because if you check these images, you see that the images are inside li. So once I give a size to this li, it can become the size of the images. Okay. So I'm going to give the li in the images. So I'm going to simply say dot images space li. I'm going to give it some things. I'm going to first of all say display, and the display I'm going to give is inline block. What this does is that to put the two images on the same line. Once I put the size now, I'll find out that this image and this one will be on the same line. Once I reduce the size, which is what I will do. So inline block will enable that. List style type, I'm going to put it none, so that it will not be writing all those dots and all those things, because it's a list. So I'm going to say list style type, and I'm going to give it a value of none, and I'm going to give the width as 40%. So this is very, very important. Width is now 40%. In order to reduce the size, I'm going to give margin. I'm going to give top and bottom to be 20 pixels, and the sideways will be 5%. That will be 50%, but that will be 50% total. 5 on this side, 5 on the other side. Then I'm going to give it a position of relative, so that the left and right things can work. Position to be relative. Okay. So that's what I have now. Now the images li on hover, I want them to move a little bit. So I'm going to say dot images li, then I put a pseudo class of hover, a pseudo class of hover. So simply I want, once I hover on it, I want the top to have a value of -4 pixels, so it will just move a little bit. Okay, nice one. So finally, now I want to now give the image themselves. So I'm gonna say images img. So I want to now give them the size images li img. Let them be 100% of the parents. So I'm going to say max width of 100%. Okay. So that's what I have now. So I'm going to make sure it's no longer the, what's it called? I needed to run this again. Open with live server so that it will be running it. You can be seeing the changes. Okay, so I'm gonna right click in the middle. Let me save this. Get back to my index.html. right click in the middle and say open with live server so that I can be seeing the effect here. Let me close out this one first. Okay, good. So this is it here. Nice one. So if I now make it big, I can see the images. So you can see the two images are now on this side. This is one. You can see on hover, it moves up a little bit. On hover, it moves up a little bit. Once you hover, you see it, it moves up a little bit. That is this very hover effect here. This hover -4. Okay, so let me make sure everything is taking effect. So this has to be dot images. Okay, so it's now perfect. So you can see now the two of them are now having the size of the li, which is 40%. So you can see that this is making more sense now. So once you hover, it moves a little bit because of the -4 pixels. So that is what I wanted to have. Okay, so these are the two images. This is what we're having now. Okay, so let's okay, so let's go on with some more let's go on with some more. Let's try to style this form here. Let's style it a little bit. Just below the section join, we have section join. Let's style it more here. So for this section join, I'm going to style this h2 here. So I'm going to simply say section join h2. So I'll say section dot join h2 of the section dot join. So here I'm going to say font size 36 pixels. Font size 36 pixels. So you can see that this is bigger now. Now I'm going to style this input in this very input here to make it more beautiful. This is how you're going to be styling your inputs. So I'm going to say form, because that's the tag. And in the form, I'm actually styling the input. Okay. So for these, I'm going to simply say margin is equal to 20 pixels top and bottom, and 0 pixels left and right. Then I'm going to say padding. I'm going to give it the value of 10 pixels top and bottom, and 20 pixels left and right. Then I'm going to say font size 24 pixels as the font size I want them. Because I want this to be coiled, I want curve here. So I'm gonna say border radius. That is what you use for the border radius. I'm simply gonna give it 28 pixels. Then border, I want it to have a border so that it can be clearly seen. So I'm giving it a border size of 4 pixels. Then I'm gonna be having it dashed. We already know this. It could be solid, it could be dotted. And I'm gonna be giving it as the, okay, let me give it as solid. I'm gonna be giving it white color. So if I save now, see there are plenty spaces here because of the paddings and everything. So you can see this is it here. It's now coily. It's making more sense now. But I want on hover, or when you're typing in, I want to have some things. So once you have a valid input, I want the border. Once you focus on it, you want to type. I want it to change. So I'm going to be using a pseudo class known as focus. So I'm going to say form input colon focus. So once you focus on it and you want to type, so this state could be, these pseudo classes could be, you could say focus, you can say over on any of them. So if you focus, I simply want now the border to still be 4 pixels, but dashed, and to be having a different color. And this time around, the color will be 4B, 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 which you already have here. Then I want it not to have any outline. So I'm simply gonna say outline none. So if I save this now, if I focus, so once I focus on it, if I click I want to start typing, you can see now that it has dashed. You can see it's dashed off now. So if I remove the focus, it's a different thing. So I think I like this. So I can also give it a valid input. So if I say now form input type, form input as state of valid. So there shouldn't be any space. You are given these pseudo classes, no space. So this space is not gonna give what you want. So for valid, I'm gonna say border, and I'm giving it a border radius, border size of 4 pixels. Back to solid, and color of 71 D 300. Okay, so you see, once I type in something that is good, it colors it D300, which is green. So that is good. If it's not valid, it's not coloring anything, but once it's valid, it's color. So you can see this is so good because now I'm able to style this at different states. So with CSS you can style at different states. So if you take out the focus, it's just normal like this. You click to type, brings in something. If you type something that is valid, it tells you that it's valid by using CSS. So you can actually use CSS states, focus, valid in order to make these changes. So the normal input is when you don't have anything inside, when it's not focused. If you click outside, it will have this very styling. Once you focus Bagam, it will have this styling. Once you type in something that is valid, it will have this styling. So, and before you can tell it something that is valid, that means you must have used input type of email. If you did not use input type of email, then you will not be able to have this way. So that is important. So if we now make this big, you can see that our website is looking pretty good. It's looking pretty good now. It's making more sense. You can see. So I'm gonna allow you to make some of these changes before we can continue. I think the only place left now is this banner, but every other thing is looking pretty good. You can see this movement on hover. So if you want to bring an hover movement like this, you can simply use, once you make this relative, so you can move it by saying top -4, it will just move up and it brings life to the website, and that is typically what we are able to do. Okay, this is good. So can you share your screen and try it a little bit? Is it possible? Let me stop sharing now. You're mute. Are you on mute? Are you trying to talk?
I'm not. I'm on mute. So.
Okay. So let me stop sharing, Abby. I'll send you the
Yes,
code
yes.
so that